Rob Murphy from Holistic Healing Choices here. Now, I'm sorry about the shoddy webcam, but this is the best I've got to work with at the moment. But what we're going to have a look at is a little bit of stuff that you do during your psychosomatic 10-day training. We're looking at the 4 body types. Now, I know there's a lot more than actually 4 body types out there, but these are the 4 foundational body types, the principles of which they're built on. So, if you don't see yourself or someone you know in there, don't worry. Now you can combine bits and pieces of them all and put them all together to form your body. But these are the 4 foundations, the 4 most common sort of things. So it's not very likely you won't see someone with at least one of the characteristics that we go through today. Anyway, let's get started. So the first one is the nurturer, the organizer of others, the matriarch. Seeking a body to be in, anybody else's but their own, all potential according to what the other wishes, fails to deliver even as he increases his promises, caught between impressing others or possessing them, eternally optimistic and youthful, always wanting to be big yet denying his childishness. He resides out there, engulfing or being engulfed. If you remember back to my Earth video, this person is very much like that. So here we're going through, while it might seem a lot of negative sort of stuff, this is when this person is at their extreme. So they have a dislike for themselves, which makes it easy for them to focus on others. Because they don't actually like what they see in the mirror or who they are, they focus so much on others, which leads into I give so much to others that I have no time for myself. They constantly do and think about others that they leave no time for themselves. And so then they sort of get into that, not so much victim mentality, but they use it as an excuse as to why they're not looking after themselves. You know, I've been busy doing all this stuff, this is why I haven't exercised or eaten properly myself, I just have no time for me. But then on the other hand, they want to be noticed. They want to be noticed, they want to be acknowledged and accepted, and this person normally wants the accolades in life. So they do all these things for others, or so they say, and they want the acknowledgement and the accolades for it. So they can be manipulative or controlling. Although they just see themselves as helping, they'll do things that you don't ask them to do in a way of helping, whereas others can see it as controlling. Like this person just wants to help, more or less. They want to do the best job, which can also lead them to believing that they are doing such a better job than what they're actually doing, promising so much but yet not delivering on it. And that too, their boundaries are as big as they are. So myself, I won't get involved with people until I know them well enough and they become friends, sort of thing. Like I won't go out of my way to do things for them, this person. So the bigger and the rounder they are, the bigger their boundaries. Their boundaries don't exist if they're very large and it's very firm out in front of them. Want to impress, but can often possess. They want to impress you so much, they become very, very obsessed with you, so to speak. So, like, oh, I'll do this for him and I'll get that notice. I'll get that acknowledgement, I'll get that sort of thing happening there. Because they look for that acknowledgement and that feedback. They want you to say, good job, excellent job. Or maybe when they're more extreme, they want you to say, you did such a better job than this person. Which, I mean, they're pushing for that so others can find them intrusive and pushy. Now, some of the emotional conditioning, as their body becomes larger, they become more desensitized from their feelings. So especially if it's like a flabby sort of look, they become much more desensitized. So they don't feel anymore. And so they're conditioning themselves not to feel. But this person is always optimistic and youthful. That in its extreme can be they're a big child. So they can have that childlike behaviour. Like this person does not accept criticism very well. So if you criticise something that they do, especially when they're doing it for the good of everyone, you are the worst in the world. They often have high levels of emotional pain. So you can see that weight that they build up around them can be like a barrier as well. So you can't actually get to touch me because I'm this far away with my weight. And yeah, that leads into desensitise and distance from others. So that's the nurturer, the organiser of others, and the matriarch. Here we have the collapsed, worn out, isolated, or unsupported. They fantasise, yet dare not dream for fear of awakening. Aloneness is their pain, yet they do not give to others. Their mark is empathy. Their goal is not love, but to be taken care of. They fear detachment, but they are rejectors. To want is to die. They avoid the cold, but do not burn. And now if you look at the energy things that are happening here, notice how it's all going down. Everything is just going down. Their energy is just going down. It's sinking out of them, out into the earth. They appear to be the victim. They've got compressed internal feelings. So this is the world's victim. These people are so hard done by the world. Like their pelvis tucks in under. Like think of a puppy, you know, after you give it a smack and tucks its tail in down and behind it. They often have that victim sort of hunched shoulders. Once you see this, you'll totally understand it. They just look like they're compressing down on themselves because they often feel weighed down by the burden of life. And there's a real sense of helplessness. I know one person in particular who fits this role completely. There's nothing you can do to cheer her up or make her see the positive side of life, but yet she wants to be taken care of. If you can go and do things for this person, she'll love it, but she's never ever going to be positive. If she goes to someone and they don't fulfill her needs, what a waste of time that was. Waste of money. They fear awakening because they'll have to own up and find out that they're responsible for their life. And they fear feeling as well, in that there's just fear and hurt and loneliness and helplessness. Really, that's all they're going to feel. So the emotional conditioning, the victimised, abandonment. Nobody ever stays with this person. Or they'll create, maybe, I've seen it in a few people, they'll create a loop where subconsciously want to be abandoned. So they'll do whatever it takes to annoy the crap out of that person to get them out of their life. They repress. They repress very well. All their emotional sort of stuff. I've done treatments on people where an emotional trigger release, which is also part of the psychosomatic course. You press on bits and you just see them push it back down. They feel unappreciated, as well as that helplessness. And there's a real hostility with some of them as well. Like, it's almost like they don't want to be happy. So don't you even try, cheer them up or do anything for them. And the disappointment that goes with that. But yet they don't want the other bit. So they're not looking for love, they're just looking to be taken care of. So don't bring all that happy, sappy crap with them. Just do what you need to look after them. And a whole dissociation with feelings. So that's the collapsed, worn out, isolated and unsupported. Next we've got the withdrawn, the passive aggressive, the compressed and the dense. Freedom is his call. Martyrdom is his reward. Empathy is his mark. Betrayal his fear. Appreciation and approval are his need. To acquire he struggles indeed. Independence is his dream. To be at peace his desire. His secret is to be at one with another, yet individual. To be rooted, to belong, to be accepted without isolation. So a very sort of similar thing to what we were just looking at there with the compressed and collapsed, except you can see a little bit in there, right at the bottom there, the energy starting to come up through the legs, but it is much more down as well, rather than going out, which is a little bit like the collapsed and worn out, is that they're perceived to be pushing the energy out. This person keeps it all in. This is very dense. Think of this one as your standover man. They do what is necessary, and they do what's required. Requires, but struggles to acquire the appreciation and approval. So they'll go to that extra length. Desires to fit in, yet wants to be an individual. So once again, think of, say, like your mafia, your typical mafia sort of thing, where they want to be part of that family, but yet they want to be known for their individuality. Once again, they tend to push others away to have more space for themselves, but they may seek others out when they feel safe. Really, this person needs a good old hug. They need someone and to feel safe. Difficulty in expressing to the outside world, because this person doesn't know feelings. They're just so compressed down and dense that feelings have nowhere to go. And they want to belong and be accepted without isolation. So it's no longer like, you belong here now, you're this, you belong into this box, because they want to be an individual as well, which can be very, very hard. The emotional conditioning that goes with that, the feelings of depression, intimidation, and a loss of power. This person won't be the head of the mafia, so to speak, but they'll be the grunt on the ground doing it, and they will feel like a loss of power, because the internalized suppression of emotions there will negatively impact them unless they can get it out. There can be an unwillingness to act out of these tense internalized feelings. And so, because the chest is so tight, there's little room for emotional reactions, which means they can be erratic as well, because the tension will build until BAM! It explodes out, and they thrive on overactivation. So this person will, if a traumatic event happens, they may work themselves till they're delirious. They just pass out, more or less, because they can't feel, they can't do anything with that emotional stuff, so they've got to be activated, they've got to be out there doing physical things. And the last one, the overbearing, the defensive, and the isolated. Independence is his call, loneliness is his reward, concern is his mark, domination is his stamp, adoration is his need, yet scorn he gets indeed. Arrogance is his fear. Competence is his dream. His secret is to be received, to be loved, rather than to love. He resists something coming inside him, yet he insists on getting inside others. As you sort of notice there, the energy flows up into the chest on this one, because that pulled up feel makes him feel bigger than he is. Internal sense of fear, of physical and emotional abuse. Like you see in the animal kingdom, this person, this gym junkie more or less, what they do is they pump themselves up so they're bigger than the aggressor. So they're the biggest thing, because that's going to stop them from feeling scared, feeling like somebody else can take over and hurt them, because that self-preservation is important. So they may be aggressive towards that. This sort of person would be the one who, if, let's say, you're sparring or doing anything like that, or you try and show any sort of dominance at all, challenge their alpha mindset, this person may be aggressive towards that and arc up just to prove that they're at the top of the chain, they're not going to get hurt. Can be dominant as a form of protection from being hurt, as I just explained there. That I will do it myself mentality, as they feel there is no one to support them. So they've created this whole structure to support themselves. But that compressed energy can snap under pressure, which means that they can lash out and do things, or that isolation, depression can just bam, and they're down and they're out and they're gone. But the biggest thing with this person is that they feel that fear. They've built themselves up, so they're this big, strong thing, and the isolation comes from that. So think of how much can get through a suit of armour. This person's built that suit of armour around themselves, so nothing can get in, none of the hurt, none of the fear, the pain, also none of that can get out. But also the love they want to feel can't come in or out. So it's a double-edged sword. So the lack of sensitivity as energy from the womb is sucked out. If you have a look here at the picture, you'll see that towards the navel there is sucked in. So There's a lack of sensitivity with these people. They normally have a squarer chin as well, and more box-like features, meaning that they're more on the logical side rather than the emotional side. But it also lessens their awareness of the outside world. So while they're building themselves up to be loved, they're not aware of what people actually feel about them, that scorn that was in the poem there, or, who's waiting there to be loved by them. The feeling of no one supporting them, and isolation, as the energy is pulled away from the ground, so they're not grounded. The tough exterior distances himself from the world, and has the internal feeling of being unapproachable, which creates that sense of isolation. So that double-edged sword that we were talking about there. I'm so big and I'm so tough, but how will people know that I'm really a sensitive sort of person on the inside? So those are the 4 body types. The 4 main foundational body types. If you enjoyed this one, guys, let me know. If you want any more information on it, I suggest you do the 10-day psychosomatic training. You learn so much about other people, but also about yourself, where you're holding that energy, and where you run into problems in life. And to be okay with yourself. If there was anything in this video where you just sort of thought, boom, that's wrong, or you had like that knee-jerk reaction to anything I've said, or that was written up here, that might be an indication that you need to take a look at yourself and find out why you had that reaction. But anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. As always, I will see you in the next one.